Hello and welcome to another episode of Do You Remembaer? This is an ongoing video series where every week I take a look at something from Wikipedia, do my best to read through the article and remember every point that I can, and then I tell you about the things that I remember from the Wikipedia article, and then maybe you read the article and leave me a note in the comments about what I got right and what I got wrong, if you want. Or you can just enjoy. All right, let's do it. Let's talk about it. The flying spaghetti monster and Pastafarianism, which is the belief in the flying spaghetti monster. It was a meme in 2005, and I'm talking about it now because a friend was sharing on Twitter how another friend of theirs was at a Pastafarian wedding, and it got me to thinking about how well that's an old meme. I guess there are people that really liked that meme from 2005 and still go for it. They're still into it. It's more than a meme. It is their religion because it's often described as a parody of religion, including the federal court in the state of Nebraska basically said this is a parody religion, so it's not an organized religion. In New Zealand, Pastafarianism is considered a religion enough that you can marry people. It hits the basis of it. It is a loose organization of folks that liked a satirical letter that a 24-year-old wrote in 2005. That's Bobby Henderson wrote that. Basically, it is a satirical piece that argues that if intelligent design is going to be taught alongside evolution in schools, well, then also you should be teaching about flying spaghetti monster. You have just as much right. Basically, trying to argue the point that intelligent design is just religion. It's not science. There's no scientific proof for it. There's just as much scientific proof of the flying spaghetti monster, an invisible force that created the universe because it got drunk. And in the letter, he does reference pirates, who are now considered the first Pastafarianists, and that pirates, the global warming is in direct relationship to the decline of piracy, which is just numbers can support your arguments. Is basically the idea of that. Anyway, I never heard anything back from his open letter, but he posted on his website, and it's 2005, and websites are important, and people are like, I like this. I like this. First of all, people who do not like to see religion taught in science classes were on board. People that don't like to see religious studies taught and being pushed in public schools like this. People that just like satire. They just think satire is good and cool. And maybe people that don't like organized religion, but do like the whole doing good for others and believing in a higher power, perhaps, or just like community, seem to really like the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. So it picked up legs. Bobby Henderson would later go on to write several books, which is great, good for him. Some of this was originally a reference to the Kansas State school boards looking to add more religion into their science, creationism. And apparently he heard from some people on the board, one of whom was unhappy with him, insulting God, I guess. But others were like, yeah, right, exactly. As I said, it is considered satirical. Now, do I think it's weird that in 2022 there is still Pastafarianism out there? There are people who are still into the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. I think it's a little weird. Because it is just, like I said, a popular internet meme. And again, because pirates were in the open letter and pirates are considered at the beginning of that, being really into pirates also feels like a very early to mid 2000s internet feeling. I do like that they have a holiday that they did not name and they just call holiday because that is lazy creative. And I think that's great. I do like a good lazy creative thing. Also, that way they can say happy holidays is just referencing their holiday. So if you're wishing people a happy holiday, you're speaking to the Pastafarians. I don't like saying Pastafarian so much. I do genuinely do not enjoy that. Other things. There's been some free speech challenges. There was one, and I forget the exact details of this, so my apologies, because this is like an in-depth. There's a lot of stuff in this article, which you can find a link in the show description below on YouTube. There was a high school student that was dressed in pirate costume that was suspended, and his argument was that this was a freedom of religion. And I believe the quote was, "You may think that this is dumb, but that doesn't mean you should exclude it," or something to that effect. It's been used in some free speech cases, and generally it is often brought up when you are trying to be unhappy, or when you are just in your life displeased with creationism. Remember when that was a real big thing? Now they can just teach religion in public schools. That's just the thing people can do now. And yeah, sure. It's like, sure, okay, cool. And I guess now it might be fair to say that now more than ever, we need a parody of religion and religious practices that young people can believe in, as so far as not believing in other things and ridiculing those that are trying to push their religion onto other people. That, I guess, if you want to be positive, it is always good to be like, oh, well, I believe in an invisible pasta monster that created the whole world because it was drunk. And that's also valid. I don't know. There's something about it that I guess is great. Good for Bobby. Bobby wrote a satirical letter mad about, religion in science class, and got a lot of hits on his website and wrote some books, and it's a whole thing, and that's kind of fun. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I remember. No, I'm now actually just looking at the page. I'll be honest, folks. I'm just looking at to see if there's anything else. Oh, I missed the headgear. Yeah, they're like hats. Okay, yes. I forgot about in 2011. I'm now literally just reading this. I'm sorry. There have been various folks in Europe and that have fought for their right to wear pasta stuff in photos. So sorry. But in the US, people are mostly like, no. But in other countries, they seem to be more like, fine. I think that's it. I want, again, I just kind of quickly looked at it. I had it open. I wasn't looking at it before, but I did want to reference and see if there's anything I missed, because this is probably the most in-depth Wikipedia page I have found for one of these. And if you have an idea for something you'd like to see me cover in the future, you can leave a comment down below the video in the below the show description. You can just leave a comment there, give me a suggestion, directly link to something, or just give me an idea of like, hey, you should find out about this. I would love to do some hasty research for you. And then also, I guess you could correct me if I missed anything or if I got anything wrong. And you could like the video. Just like the video. If you just want to leave Flying Spaghetti Monster as a comment on this video, that would be great for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.